Hi, I'm playing, well, let's turn off television and play a 3-minute rated game against Cruise 29. This is, I think, yeah, Croatia. I was gonna say Serbia, but that looks slightly different. Yeah, maybe like Queen C2 if he wants to play F5. Okay, so we basically have an opening called the Catalan. And okay, there's no rush to play D4, but eventually I will. Probably knight D2 and E4 is my plan here. He goes B6. It's the most natural way to take care of the Olbin's bishop. And I never knew exactly what to do here. Somehow I always play this. Rook C8, bishop B2. And he goes C5. Not really. The theory here is not that good. Seem to recall that this is some way to play here, just get the queen out of this annoying diagonal. Well, not diagonal, out of this annoying setup on the c file. And knight to e4. It's not threatening anything, but yeah, if I take, can't get the bishop here. I'm not sure how good it is, but I think I'll do it. He takes with the bishop, knight takes e4. And then bishop takes e4, I have knight g5. This, well, this protects my d-pawn. Now he's going to try and win this pawn instead. I think I have some potentially dangerous threats. If bishop takes d4, I'm gonna see a nice tactic. I think the thing is c takes d4, then maybe I get the bishop here, but knight takes f6. But if bishop takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen takes d7, seems to me to win a piece because of the knight check on f6. And this, well, can he stop my knight from getting out? I think not. I think I can just put something on the e-file. Like this, and then play knight e5. He might get some pawns. Okay. This I don't really care about. Just go here. And okay, he gets to take on d5, but now I don't really have to worry about anything because the knight becomes a great blockader here on d3. He's not getting any material away from me. Yeah, here. There's a good point that he can't double here. Knight f4. If he doubles, take. Well, do a take? I don't know. Let's see, rook here. Maybe rook here. Yeah, probably a better move. Okay, if I take, he takes. I'll go rook here, knight d5. Win the pawn. There's no back rank, otherwise he would have c2 here, and that would be in trouble. So he goes for the counterplay. Let's secure this knight and then get our king into the game. Get him more active. Maybe something like rook e3 to block his king off. Knight d5, b5. I'll need to play faster, so I'm just gonna improvise here. I think I take it if pawn takes b3, knight d4 immediately when winning the pawn. So now I have 28 seconds. I'm up a piece. And I will always have an easy plan of just probably knight g5 and take it on f7. So I can pre-move here. He can't really do any harm to my position. I can pre-move this. I'm threatening to check him. Okay. 24 seconds. Knight will come into f4. Knight can play g5, take on h5. I'll take once and then take on h5. Rook c6 and knight d5. I just want him to make a weakness. He's not allowing it. So I'll give a check here. I should be able to simplify it because king g8, I can play this move followed by this. Well, let's not pre-move, we might not take it. I'll take it back like this, okay. So check, yeah, now it should be easy, but the only problem is my time, 13 seconds. So let's get the knight back. And then bring our king out. Where's my knight? Over there. Okay. Having trouble finishing this off. Oh, I'm losing a pawn there. What's going on? I'm way too slow here. Way too slow. F4. He has to take it. Okay, let's go. Oh, he was too slow, Ingvar. To improve this knight. To get to g4. Okay. Now we can start moving the king forward. I'll get into e4 next. Then f5. Oopsie daisy. And white one. Okay, not the greatest technique in the world there, but managed to do it. Let's have a look at this game. So okay, the video started so suddenly that I was kind of rattled. So I played c4, the English opening. He plays e6. And usually when they play e6, they want to play either some classical Dutch setup with f5, or they just want to play some regular stuff with knight f6, d5. Some queen's gambit stuff. So I went ahead with knight f3, d5, g3. I never have to worry about taking here. I always have queen a4 check. I can win the pawn if I'm worried about it. c6, queen c2. Not necessarily a move that you have to play. But I tend to play this move when black has set up this triangle. Because then he might take on c4 and play b5 to secure the pawn, when usually white has to sacrifice a pawn for some initiative. But I like to keep it simple, so just queen c2 and they will take back on c4 with the queen. Knight f6, bishop d2, and we are more or less forced to transpose into Catalan here. Closed Catalan, because he keeps his pawn structure here intact. If he takes on c4, it's the open Catalan. I hope I got that right. Makes sense. b6 and e4. Another way to play is to take on e4, but I think white usually gets a rather pleasant position in these lines. I can go b3, bishop b2. It's also possible to play something like bishop f4, I think. And eventually black has to play c5, and we'll put a rook on the d file, queen e2, knight e5, something like that, and white will have, well, not much of an edge, but a little edge. And also I played these positions a lot, so I don't mind. But he plays bishop b7, keeping things closed. I think this is all theory. It's possible that the knight should be on c3 in some lines. Don't really know the difference. But I seem to remember this maneuver from some theory, and makes sense to get the queen out of this file where the rook is pointing down at it. And this Jesus move, even though I have to put the queen here on a somewhat weird square, it also gives some opportunities on this diagonal, and the queen gives some tactical possibilities like knight g5. We'll see it as the game went along. I took on d5. My idea here was to show one of the advantages of the queen on h3. Take here, bishop takes, and knight g5. Now I'm threatening the mate, so he has to take it. Otherwise I take on e4 with the knight and just win a piece, so he takes. But now I do have the bishop pair. I'm not saying this is, really great for white. I think it's potentially slightly better, but not by much. Yeah, I do have the bishop pair, which is usually an advantage, and since I've got this light square bishop, I never have to worry about any big attack on my king. But on the other hand, my pieces maybe do not stand so great here, and if he can drum up some initiative, maybe then I would have to worry. Maybe he can take on d4 and play knight to c5 or something. Something like that. Yeah, it could be annoying. So maybe it's not all that great, I'm not sure. Something like this. If I take with the bishop, then knight c5 might force me to exchange. Rook d1, bishop f6. Well, maybe I'll play rook d1, since I have this square under cover with the bishop, so he has no rook c2. And my intention is probably to take with the rook here. If he goes bishop f6, he has to watch out, because now knight c5 is not as good, because I just take it, the queen is attacked, and taking here. Now this is pinned, he's going to get into trouble here with this knight here on d7. And again, this queen is serving a strange purpose there, but manages to do its job. I need some water actually, but yeah, maybe next time. So he took on d2. I have to take back, bishop to f6. And yeah, here I spotted this great tactic that, yeah, more or less decided the game. Yeah, if he takes here, it's going to be dangerous because I get the bishop here. He can't take with the queen because this is hanging, so he has to take with the knight. And yeah, it's just dangerous, all kinds of problems. He takes with the bishop, I take here. Although maybe he can take on g2, I didn't see that immediately, because my queen is hanging. So that turns out okay. But also there's potentially like problems like this. Where does the knight go? If he takes on g2, then I take here. And even if he can secure the bishop, I give him checkmate. So where does the knight go? Maybe h5. Yeah, it's a slight edge for white. It's not much, but okay. Instead, he took on d4 with the bishop. And this allows this little knight fork here on f6, winning the piece. And I was, yeah, this is what I saw, but I was perhaps lucky that my knight gets out. Can he play f6 here? f6 and... nah, I doubt it. Either way, I can always sacrifice the knight for a pawn if it can't get out. But as he played it, I get my knight out and I get this great blockading square on d3. He found an idea to at least make life slightly more difficult for me. But basically, yeah, I'm just up a piece, and it should be a matter of technique, and I managed to do it, but it wasn't the prettiest. Well, actually here I win the pawn, so I mean, just a clear knight up, but because I was low on time, I had some problems bringing home the victory, but managed to do it. Yeah, I mean, I should just win. Don't really need to discuss it that much. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you later. Bye bye.